My name is Billy G, joined here by the fantastic and beautiful autocorrect. How you doing, autocorrect?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
All right, I think we are kind of just recovering from that first game. Super exciting.
Yeah.
Just kind of had to settle down a little bit and just chill a little bit.
I'm still breathing heavily. That was fantastic. But before we go any further, if you don't mind, I'd like to address the chat and thank you all for the kind words that you gave myself and autocorrect with the backing and the support of all the players and all the people. It means so much to the organisers, myself, and the players themselves that you would give such kind words. So I thank you. And of course, we are backed by Mob Crush, so go and give them some love. And of course, if you want any statistics or any backstage knowledge of all of the games, go over to Fame Glory. They will have your latest. But for right now, Mr. Autocorrect, as I get online, what do we have next?
Well, we've got the headquarters seeded 9 versus PRDX Insomnia seeded 5. I think a lot of people in the stream have been know the PRDX Insomnia, and they, as I mentioned before, they are a pro team. They've got a really good lineup here. They did really well last year in the quarterfinals of the Tesseract. But headquarters coming in off of a really nice win at the Indonesia Phoenix Got Talent tournament, so they're coming in on that high. And they're not anybody to kind of push over either. They beat the number 1 seed, which was Piggy Grace from Hunters, which is actually, Crazy Deja Vu, also known as Piggy Grace, previously from Hunters, number 1 seed from there in the round of 32. So they knocked them out. So really, really excited to see these guys play tonight.
Oh, I am so happy. They're actually tipped to be the underdogs of the tournament. So I am. My British flair is flaring right now. That was a really good sentence, buddy. Well done for that. And I am obviously I do like underdogs, but they are against a very, very good team. So we're going to see maybe just as good matchup as we saw in the last game. But do you know what? I'm still so hyped, autocorrect, that I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want to see it. So, person, the voice in my ear, there we go. Straight away, didn't even have to tell him. Into the draft. Autocorrect, what are you feeling about this match?
Well, PRDX is really interesting how they like to keep a lid on a lot of things that they do, so they don't really show their strategy very often. They just kind of quietly practice their own thing, and so there's not too much to be said in terms of research against these guys, but we do know that they are a pro contracted team. They're all paid full-time to play this game, just like TSM, just like Secret and these guys. So they are very professional, and I definitely will expect them to come out here with a very polished clinical game.
Oh, definitely. And we see the Adagio band, and I'm liking the look of this right now coming out from headquarters. They're going to pick up my comfort pick. Oh, no, they're not. Oh, they're going to swap it out maybe. What do they want? What are they going to go for? Is it going to be the Scarf and Fortress? Is it going to be Fortress? Is it going to be Scarf? They're toying with us here. Just lock it in. There we go. It's the Scarf. Scarf is a very good pick. Very strong, but he hasn't really been doing so well in the Tesseract so far.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with, you've got the counter at the Fortress. Fortress, great counter because you can just dive in there in the back line of that Scarf. Scarf is a damage over time based character where a lot of the characters in SCA, they tend to go full straight up front burst and just go at each other really hardcore right away in the team fights. And it tends to be, the people that get that initial burst on them first tends to be the guys that win, but Scarf, great when he can do some backline poking if he's got the positioning, but he's going to be facing, looks like, a Ringo in lane.
Not good for a Scarfy Scarf. He has to get those Spitfires off pretty good and pretty accurately. I'm going to see what headquarters decide to pick up next. So we'll be surprised to see a Black Feather. And they're going to Finn?
That's interesting.
I mean, it's great. It's a great counter to the Fortress early game burst, really, isn't it? That Quibble's going to do more than you guys can do in about 10 seconds.
If he hits it, yeah.
Yeah, if he does hit it. And there's what's going on? Is that attack? If I don't see a Weapon Arden or a Black Feather right now, I'm going to be so upset I'm going to cry. What do you think is going to be picked? What do we think? Because the attack is quite good. You can't run Sky. You can run Kestrel, but it's dangerous. And they what?
Oh, that's interesting.
They pick the. Let's just tell stream right
now.
Wait, okay. What? It's statistically, Taka is the counter to Sky. Now, Insomnia just picked up Sky when they saw Taka. Why would you do that? Was it their only option left?
No. I mean, first, they could have picked up. Oof, I don't know if that's the only
Think
option.
about it.
Maybe
I think it
it's
was
just.
the only decent option. I mean, you can't run Pedal into Taka. He's going to melt her. There's no real decent Crystal jungler because Adagio and Glaive can run Crystal, but not too effectively, are taken out. Scarf's been taken out, so you can't run him in the jungle. Blackfeather's not too powerful as Crystal and is not going to go up against us as an attacker as Crystal by any means, shape, or form. He's only going to survive as weapon. Who was there left? I think Sky was their only option. I think Headquarters just ran an absolutely phenomenal draft.
We'll have to see. I think that there are some options you can play. I feel it's just that I think because Sky is just so powerful right now, even if you go with a Sky against Ataka at this point, if you got the vision, if you've got the Scout Trap you can drop at the feet before you fight, Taka's kind of negated in a lot of sense, and he's not going Crystal, he's going Weapon, so you're not going to really fear that major burst that you would with a Crystal against the Sky. And so I think it really comes down to teamwork once again, I feel.
I think with a weapon tacker, it's harder to counter in the early game, but a crystal tacker would do better in the late game against the Sky, in my opinion. But they've got level 2. They are already down the shops. The farm is so much quicker, and Finn is a hero who is not going to get away from this fight in any means, shape, or form. He's got his scribble up, but he's deciding not to use it. The Sky backlines with the Series Strike to knock him down. Tacker having to box and get away, so he got away quite well. I would definitely go for this back. But I think they just saw him. The snap back from Sky there. No, they didn't. But Taka's staying at the front instead of going straight to the backs. This may not be good for our little Taka here. They may know exactly where he is, but they're going to get to the backs right at the same time Taka does. And there's the flare. He should have just gone straight to the backs, and that flare saw him. That flare got him. They know where he's going. They know he's going for the backs, and he's just going to teleport back to base. That's a good move.
I think a good save would be more like it because, as you mentioned before, I think he just need to get to the backs right away. It takes too long to take those fronts, and they're not even worth that much to him. Where you can get one back or 2 of the camps, and there's going to be worth so much more for you rather than those 2 small, tiny ones.
I mean, they literally just spawned. They would have had nice 75 gold in. The top 2 had about 20 to 30. Both of them, it's substantially less than just 1 back, and maybe 2. I would have died for a back, as Taka does manage to pick up his healing cramp now, and he's going to turn onto Sky and try and do some damage. The Finn with the fortified help, absolutely OP, and the Quibble does land on the Sky to try to Series Strike around it, but she is doing well, and Taka is taking so much damage as the Kaiten comes in, going to try and do the damage necessary, and there is a Kaku, and there is the full barrage. It is cancelled. Will he get to the back line? And he does with a nice Kaiten, but Fortress picks up the kill. And there's a Quibble. Fortress is going to win this fight by every means. Yeah. He's going to get killed. There it is. Scar's rotation was very slow there. What happened?
Yeah, I think he just felt that maybe they would have been able to take it. Taka again, supposedly the counter against that Sky, so I think he thought maybe they could do it. And also, I think he's very aware of Ringo being able to take down this turret pretty decently if he has a minion wave push. If he has a minion wave push with him, he can do some damage on the turret. So I think that was also the part of it, was that he knew that his minions were being pushed back, and so he didn't want to lead the turret.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, we're going to see how this plays out, because I think this again, it's going to come down to the mid-game fight. This isn't going to be a too late game. I think it's going to be one when either the first Kraken or the second Kraken is taken. It's not going to be too late game. It's going to be the late mid-game, but there is another fight in the jungle. As Scarf is trying to do some damage, but takes a full 4 bros, has the Kaiten around it, using the basic attack speed to try and get away. But there is a flare there. They know where where the attacker is, but he's going to come into the fight. And that Quibble and the Kaiten following it up, picking up the Sky. The counters of the Sky is starting to pay for it, but Vox is here now, and Taka will be the next to fall, but the Polite Company saves him. The Quibble doing so much damage. Taka comes back in. He looks like he tries to want to pick up a kill, but he does, and Ringo was going to turn on him there. Thought better of it, but this is really looking good for Headquarters.
Yeah, I think what you saw there is the beauty of Finn and just how powerful he can be. Even just preventing Ringo from getting that last hit on Taka was a really, really good move from him, and then the Quibble coming down. Ringo rotating too slowly, I feel when they're already that high up close to your lane bush, you need to be there much earlier, and he was just rotated way too late there.
Yeah, he did. He weren't even able to pick up the kill at that point. And Finn is in the backs. He's holding them for Taka, who's just going to get the backs of Insomnia and his own. This is going to be a fed little Taka, especially as he's still being hyper farmed.
Yeah, and that's great because and this is where you it looks like they're going to go for a fight already. Fish the Cat really wants that Finn, look at the Chitin coming in. Fish the Cat has the lock, no Survey Strike yet. I think he's just a little bit wary of that Taka with the 5 key stacks up and wants to make sure that he's got a backup there. Strike the Wire now rotating down as he can. Scarf now going back into the lane here, and the minions are even 7.8k to 8.4k. Missed Spitfire from Scarf, not hitting Ringo at all. And look how fast Ringo's clearing. He wants to push and possibly meet up with his teammates maybe.
And looks like Scarf is doing exactly the same thing. Pop the goop there to really clear that minion wave. Trying to do what he can. But I think the Tyrant may take one. No, he kills it just in time. And he's going to get all of his farm. That was a very impressive clear coming out from Scarf. But there's a rotation into the lane. Taka is really close to his level 6. When he gets it, I think that is a dead Ringo.
Yeah, also take a look here. They're not building out Strikewire for Fishcat aren't building out the early Aegis that we saw previously in the last game. And so even though Darla does have the Piercing Shard, does he need to fill and rush that full Broken Myth, or can he go for a little bit more upfront Crystal, I feel?
In this scenario, with Taka doing so much damage, you need to be able to match it. You need this early game win, and that's exactly what they're going to need. But look at the Quibble paired with the Spitfire. The Dragon's Breath comes in, and as I said, that would be a dead Ringo, and it is a dead Ringo. Taka taking the front of the damage and isn't even scared. There's the Kaku, look at him just standing right next, getting that tension bow proc off, but it's going to take so much damage. He used his Retsu at the wrong time, and whoa! That Sewer Strike through the wall was perfect, paid for it with his life, but the Fortress is going to get away, and Finn taking so much damage. Finn's going to fall to minions, I bet you all of my life, and he does. Scarf didn't rotate fast enough. He managed to get the healing creep though, but Ringo is right there. He has a tension bow as well. No, he doesn't. So Sorrow Blade at this point already. Scarf going to go for that Broken Myth instead. It does look like probably going to pick up that Heavy Prism now. I would be going Shadow Glass in this match because you're landing pretty well. That Dragon's Breath would have done so much more if you just had that Heavy Prism.
Yeah, and I think Taka's playing a really great game now too, and I think he's really pushing back on that Sky, and we're seeing why Taka's a good counter. That was a really nice auto attack right after that Surrey Strike came in. They just kill each other off.
That is just
getting that early armor now too as well.
Which is good. They need to tank up a little bit. That light armor's not going to do much against the tension bow. It's going to pierce through it, and the massive burst damage is going to do what you need. But the Hellfire Brew comes out. He doesn't manage to kite over it and takes so much damage. And they dive in on top of him, but the burn is starting to hurt. And the Scarf's rotation is a little bit late, and Taka is in a bad position, and so is Finn. This is going to be a counter attack, but they're going to dive in on the Ringo. But here comes the Dragon's Breath. He's stunned out of it. The death from the room stuns out the Scarf. He's going to take a full barrage to the face. Just misses the end of it. But gets picked up, and that is a counter race, and more than likely a gold mine, and it is today. That was a really good counter-aggressive play and a really slow rotation coming out from the Scarf.
Yeah, again, the rotation not good from the Scarf. I really feel that Ringo's doing a good job too. You saw just how patient he was there. He wasn't going to re-engage there. He knew his teammate could take it, and he got the ace. Now he's back full health, able to push that turret. Look at that minion wave there with all the ace buff action on there. That turret just drops.
And they almost killed Finn. And what is Scarf doing? She almost let Finn die and lost the farm because of it. Oh my lord, she just stood there right next to the minions, let Finn almost die, almost went past them, and lost about half of that minion wave.
Ouchie, not good for Scarf. They now have to transport back home, and that's going to leave Taka to get some farm by himself. He's at level 8 now, next to an 8 and 8, so everything pretty even in the XP front, but man, that Scarf is worrying me a little bit with some of those decisions right now.
Definitely, but they're going to try and dive in on the Scarf. It looks like they know he may be a good target to hit, especially as it's such low health, and they're going to put some aggression on, but now Taka is there. Taka is going to be able to burn down this Ringo so fast that they have to be careful. They have to be able to back off, because if they land a Spitfire, Quibble, and an X-Ret2, that is a dead Ringo.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, you see that Free now has the Fountain, whereas Unbreakable does not have Fountain yet, so this could possibly be a fight. If they wanted to take one here, they would have the advantage with the Fountain over HQ, but I don't think they're going to. I think just they're going to be content with grabbing their farm and playing a little bit more of that late game. They've got the first turret, so they feel like they're sitting in a pretty comfortable position, I feel.
I think so too, but they also don't know that he hasn't got his Fountain yet. He's going to probably just buy it. Wait, he got his boots over his Fountain. He got his tier 2 boots over a Fountain in this game. What do you think about
I mean, in some sense, I can understand it because Finn is so slow, and he can't really be any help because he's so slow.
Hmm.
But on the other hand, when the enemy team is so far ahead, you really need to make sure that you've got that because if they force a team fight, you're in big trouble.
It does indeed. Looks like they're not going to force it anytime soon. He's going to have his fountain and about 200 more gold. They know where they are. They cannot fight this fight. They have to start backing off and start tanking up a little bit. But looks like they're gonna say no to that and go for the turret. This may be a questionable decision because the attack of the pack has been popped, and there's the pull to try and knock down the Ringo. But Taka was not on it fast enough, and there's the expect to go to the back line. But look at the damage from Ringo coming out here today. Taka will fall here, and there is the scout trap to bring him out. And Scarf is not doing enough damage, and Taka almost falling. He's got that bleed on him, and the Hellfire Brew comes out to try and break down Unbreakable. And it does end up breaking him as Taka looks like he's going to teleport back to base. No, he's going to take the backs. He's on low health. He probably can't even take them as Scarf takes so much damage, almost taking out the fortress there. And Taka at the back line manages to steal the backs, but he's going to lose his in the process.
Yeah, and I was a bit surprised that Ringo did Hellfire Brew Taka, but it looks like he went Kaku just in time. That healing saving his life on more than one occasion, but is it worth losing all of this farm? Not quite sure, but they're going to come back in really quick. Spawn pretty fast here already still yet, and that scout trap nicely placed. Not going to hit anybody, but looks like they're all together here down in the jungle shop. You got 10, 10, 7, 9, 6, and 10 in the levels.
Sorry to cut you off. Did you just see that? Unbreakable just accidentally popped his fountain. This is not good for him, and now Taka will be the next person to get called out. He tried to Kaku, but he got found out so fast. The X-Retsu managing to get him out of there perfectly as the Goop also doing some nice, not really too much damage actually. A nice Spitfire landing there. He has his Broken Myth. He has a Void Battery. He's not really going to be doing too much in the means of damage. And again, we're seeing that they've seen that the SEA meta is run that Broken Myth first. And it's not paying off. You need that upfront damage. You need that EU meta right now.
Yeah, and actually, I've never run Broken Myth first on Scarf. I just feel that you got to have that poke power, otherwise you're relying, especially with this comp, because Taka is not a brute class. He doesn't just jump in and lead initiations. He's an assassin. He's supposed to be either really focused targeting or killing off an already wounded target. So if he's coming in against somebody that's full health, yeah, he may get a Ringo down to almost nothing, but he's going to die in the process. You trade kills, but then you're at a disadvantage because if Scarf has no damage, that fortress and that Sky is going to come back and they're just going to wreck you. So I really feel that he needs to be taking some damage and he needs that Shatter Glass.
He does indeed. I in this scenario, I probably would have just sat on an energy battery, got my tier 1 boots, and got for that Shadow Glass, because the Frostburn, it's not really going to do too much against these two kind of heroes. Ringo's pretty mobile. If you land, he may be a little bit too far away for you to follow up on it. Sky's just going to sewer strike around everywhere. You're going to get a couple of Spitfires off max, and you need to be able to use them. But there is the Force the Cord coming in, followed up by the Quibble, but the Hellfire Brew is ready. And there's the Dragon's Breath. This is a much better fight for Headquarters as they come in. But look at the damage. Ringo is doing so much, and he manages to pick up the Taka. Taka with that Tension Bow, not doing too much at all. This is why I hate running Tension Bow, because Scar, look at the damage from Ringo. He isn't scared, and the Quibble misses, and so does the Spitfire. The Goop comes in to slow him down, but there's not a Spitfire to follow up. There it is, but he dodges the Goop. HQ have to back off from this one as the Fortress now takes the Spitfire, and now Scarf is in a bad position. The Quibble does stun this time. The Spitfire picks him up. Strikewire is going to easily pick up these next 2 kills, I think, and there it is. There is the kill, but it is not the ace at this moment in time.
Still, it was a really good recognition from Ringo that he could take them on. He knew exactly what he was doing. Nice Quibble to try to, let Scarf get away, but Scarf kind of stayed engaged there. He didn't just make a beeline out of there, which kind of gave up the double kill there.
It did. Like we saw, it was a really good play to start off with. They tried to dive in. They decided to delete the Sky out at this moment in time, but it just didn't pay off. Ringo is getting a little bit too far ahead. Let's have a look at the CS between Ringo and Scarf right now.
Yeah, you're looking at 114 CS for Ringo, 101 for the Scarf. Scarf is always a little bit, tough to get that CS a lot of times. So you tend to see overall Scarf not getting as good of CS as Ringo. So actually being only, 4 CS away, 5 CS away,
pretty impressive.
not actually a bad deal here for the Scarf.
It's actually really good for a scarf. Obviously, there are players out there who can never miss a CS at any point in their lives, but it is unbelievable that he's managed to keep up this amount of CS. So the fight should really be more even, in my opinion. But they're not. Ringo, when he gets to the point in the game where he gets so fed, he just does so much damage. And right now, look, they are just backing off. They are. Insomnia looks like they're a little bit scared, even though they have more damage essentially.
Yeah, I think they're just thinking about, here comes a force accord. Oh, the Quibble does hit. Here comes Hellfire Brew to initiate in on Scarf. Is a target, 365 damage. Look at Taka just getting absolutely nailed by but here comes Dragon Breath coming in, and Fisher Cat trying to pick out a target. Looks at Sturdy Strike, goes back in. He's looking for that Scarf. Oh, he goes down instead. This is dangerous. Taka gets out just in time. Furry looking for the chase. X-Rat 2 comes in. Oh, he goes down instead. Neo's using that Kaku Great Effect. This is a 3v1. Strike the wire. Takes out Taka before going down himself, giving up the ace and the Kraken.
And the turret. Oh my lord, that was impressive. Like, I think Taka MVP of that fight. The positioning was key. His Kaku timing was perfectly effective. We saw in the fight there at the start of the fight, he took half health damage, tried to get the Sky down to a perfect amount, stayed in the fight, and then Kaku'd right next to her, stayed next to her for the entire thing, waited for the chance to come out. Finn came in with a nice polite company. He showed himself. He got the attack off, and then Sky decided to backline to Scarf, took a Spitfire to the face and just fell with just half a full barrage coming off. And there is a Kraken. Cameraman zooming on Kraken's face as she roars into the camera. Roar into the camera.
I also think that they might have taken them. HQ might have taken them a little bit by surprise with that polite company, polite company coming through there. Just initiating the fight ahead of time. I think Insomnia is sitting back thinking, oh, well, we can create a team fight on our terms. But then suddenly, boom, Finn initiates the fight, pulls them in, and then they're off to the races. And I think, that was kind of what led to that. Taka doing a great job there, kiting over a lot of the damage there. The chitin doing some good work. Is Kaku healing him up? And they end up getting that.
They do, and they manage to put in the Sky this time. She is stunned by the Quibble, and they're just going to dive on her. Sky's going to absolutely delete it, but she is bouncing. The Dragon Breath comes in, not really hitting anyone in that scenario, just killing a couple wolves. This is looking good for Headquarters, but that is not a healthy Kraken right now. She is under half health, and this is a good fight for HQ, and they dive in. He dives in on the Sky. He's going to take so much damage because of it as the fountain is spot to keep him alive. My lord, but we have a Scarf sitting on no energy. He has that Eve of Harvest. He has that Broken Myth, and look at Taka. Taka's going to take the death on this one just so he can try and pick up the turret. And there is Scarf in the middle of the fight with no damage. And there's the X-Ray followed up. And no, the basic attack didn't land. He cancelled out his own basic attack. And here comes the Hellfire Brew. He needs a Chitin to be able to dodge it. And he does!
Oh,
he dodges it! Oh my god, that was impressive. And now Scarf again has stayed a little bit too long. Will be picked up. There's no Spitfire. Maybe able to pick up Sky. Picks up Sky, gets killed by Ringo, and I think this is going to be an easy return turret. That was impressive. That was so good, though.
Sky's showing a bit too much excitement there, trying to get in on the kill and going down instead. You could have just backed off, and then they would have had 3 men to hit this turret on, maybe get another 2 turrets out of it. But that Taka dodging that Hellfire Brew, that was amazing.
That was so good. Just turning around, it's like he heard us. Like maybe the latency's too quick. It's like I think he saw the Hellfire Brew and just came in and went, oh, is that a Hellfire? Chitin! He just dodged it. That was unbelievable. But dodge. But at this point in time, we still have, even with all those turrets gone, even with the fights leading in the side of Headquarters, you've got Insomnia. They're still ahead in kills and gold.
Yeah, but as you saw in the Infamous game, just one late game fight is what you need, and it could go either way. We're looking at 18 minutes and 30-second game, so it's starting to get a little bit going past that, close to that 20-minute mark. You've got a Scarf now nearly with a Shatter Glass, and Ringo with a bit of ways away from the Times Monaco. So he needs that Transmog, he needs that crit to really kind of home in and do that massive burst damage, especially if Taka is going to come diving in on him. I think PRDX needs to understand the Taka and what is his mindset. His mindset is to dive in on that Ringo or the Sky. So as soon as he dives in, I think as long as they have a scout trap there, they can focus in on him. His Kaku's rendered useless, and they can take him out quick and then go for a 3v2 fight.
This is why if I'm ever against Taka, no matter what support I am, I actually build Contraption. because that means that
Yes.
if a fight starts, I always have a scout trap. Like that scout trap will
Yes.
be put underneath us, regardless. We won't need the Warhorn, but they're going to go for a turret push, and I think that is a perfect time to actually get the Kraken, because as soon as you get the Kraken, you teleport back to base and you stop it. But they're going to go run into the fight. Attack of the back. Esports and the Flight Company comes in, and it's going to be Ringo versus little Taka there. My apologies for the stutter there, and he manages to Atlas Pauldron him, and now Ringo's in the bad position. Look at that damage coming out from that Dragon's Breath, and now we see Strike Wire trying to get the damage onto Taka. He manages to X-Retsu our poor little fortress there as he dies. Now Ringo is going to fall here to the Scarf, who picks him up with a Spitfire. That is going to be... I would just maybe... Would you rush game or get Kraken here? What do you think?
Wow. That's I would probably take the turrets myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could probably get 1 or 2 turrets in that, but either way, I think it's a good move. Good team fight. They got the team fight. Ringo's positioning was really weird, that he went down, rotated down like that instead of across behind his front line, and that allowed Taka to isolate him and do a lot of damage to him before the team fight even started. And so the position, I feel, for Ringo really needs to be looked at right now, because it's costing his team a lot of these fights.
Well, the thing was, he came in, he dived in on him like you said, but he didn't do too much damage. He did a fair amount of damage, but the main thing was that put Ringo out of that fight and why he had to back off so far away was he got Atlas Pauldroned. We see Taka is running that tanky Taka. He's got an Atlas Pauldron, he's got his Aegis, he's only sitting on a tension bow and a minion's foot with a blazing salvo for really just all of his damage. He's got a bit of increased attack speed, a little bit of crit, but he's only got that 180 burst with that 8% armor pierce and a little bit of additional weapon power. I can't remember the weapon power off the top of my head. So he is literally there just to Atlas Ringo and let Scarf start picking up, who's been built up, got the damage, and there's the Warhorn in, but followed up by the Force Core to pull them in with the Quibble. It manages to stun Sky, but Fortress is AFK as the Dragon's Breath comes out. This is not good as they're going to pick up this last turret easily, and they have to back off in base. This looks like a headquarters win. That how Kraken is too healthy. The full team is up. There's a Spitfire. Kraken's going to pick up that one. GG to headquarters. Well done to those guys. And Taka is just sitting up in pace, just going, oh, I don't care if I die right now. We won the game. And that was impressive. But right now, what we're going to do is we are going to go and look at the builds. Autocorrect. What do you like? What do you dislike? And what do you think could be done better?
Yeah, great job from HQ in that team fight, showing them why they were able to knock out the #1 seed here. Good job from Finn. Finn, kind of the quiet hero of this game. He did so many things so right. His Quibble on point, his stun on point, his anchor pulls on point. I think, if I had to pick a man of match, actually Finn would be the man of match, even though I know that Taka was flashy and coming in and doing this and that, jumping around. Taka is doing what Taka does best, hassling other heroes, but I really feel Finn, the backbone, allowing them to kind of, do all these things and win these team fights. He's got pretty standard build here. No Atlas Pauldron, amazingly enough, to counter the Ringo, going for that Warhorn and Fountain instead, and Oakheart as well. No Crucible to counter Sky's Death from Above either. So a bit of an interesting build for him, but, sitting on 5,347 gold. That was pretty much, he prioritized on that. Scarf, interesting enough, we talked about lack of crystal damage in the beginning, but it was really towards the end that he managed to really make a huge difference with that one key Dragon Breath towards the end with the full stacks of Broken Myth. Don't really need an Even Harvest, I find. Could have done a little bit better, maybe put it into a tier 3 armor to counter the Ringo. Ringo was kind of the big threat there, so as long as they shut him down, they were okay. And Taka seemed to be able to do that. He had his number. The good Atlas Pauldron there in on Ringo. Not enough vision from Red Team, I feel like. If Ringo's going to be isolated by himself like that, he needs to at least have vision, understanding that Taka has been doing the same tactic the entire game, which is just to focus in on him. So if I'm Red Team, I'm going to be saying, okay, look, Taka's going to come in on Ringo. He's been doing it the entire game. How can we counter that? Well, we use Ringo as bait. We pull Taka out of position. We focus in on him, burst him down. We've got